And welcome to today's City Grammar. I'm Tara and we are in St Dunstan's East Church Gardens today. This church was an amazing church back in history, but it was destroyed in World War II by bombs. Most of the walls have been ruined. This is a mysterious place, isn't it? And the church has a wonderful Gothic style, doesn't it? And you'll notice that both of these sentences have a question tag at the end, and that's the theme of today's lesson. And a question tag is when you have a sentence and you want to turn it into a question. And you do that by having the main part of the sentence followed by a question tag. You are looking for confirmation from the person you're speaking to see if they agree with you. First example, there isn't a roof on the church, is there?
There isn't a roof on the church, is there?
It's raining today, so we can say, the benches are wet, aren't they?
The benches are wet, aren't they?
And we can also say, the trees have been growing a long time, haven't they?
The trees have been growing a long time, haven't they?
So these three sentences have something in common. There isn't a roof on the church, is there? You'll notice that the word is used both times, isn't and is there. If you're using a verb, then you use the same verb at the beginning and the end. The trees have been growing a long time, haven't they? Or the verb have is used twice.
The helping verb in the question tag depends on the helping verb in the main sentence.
But in the sentences, if you start a statement in the positive, the question is in the negative. And if you start a sentence in the negative, then the end question tag is in the positive. It's the reverse. We can look at this in more detail and see if the rule applies. The benches are wet, aren't they?
The benches are wet, aren't they?
See, we started the sentence in a positive, the benches are wet, and we finished with a negative question tag, aren't they? How about the church isn't used for church services anymore, is it?
The church isn't used for church services anymore, is it?
Okay, the first part of the sentence started with a negative. The church isn't used. And then at the end of the sentence, we have a positive. Is it?
A positive statement always has a negative tag. A negative statement always has a positive tag.
So now let's do a task for you. You'll see in the gardens that we have a fountain, which has been bubbling away all day. Have a look at the screen and see if you can complete the question.
Choose the correct option. The correct answer is, the fountain has been bubbling away all day, hasn't it?
That's right. And now another question for you to check.
Choose the correct option. The correct answer is, the church hasn't been rebuilt, has it?
So we're still here and we're looking at question tags today. So what do we do if we want to add a question tag to a sentence, but we don't have a helping verb? We use the verb do. And we have a lot of ivy here, and the ivy grows up the wall, doesn't it?
The ivy grows up the wall, doesn't it?
And the rain is still falling, so the rain makes everything wet, doesn't it?
The rain makes everything wet, doesn't it? When there is no helping verb in the main sentence, use the appropriate form of the verb do in the tag.
So we know this place is haunted and that there are ghosts in the gardens. So have a look at your screen and complete the sentence.
Choose the correct option. The correct answer is, you don't see ghosts in the daylight, do you?
You're correct. You don't see ghosts in the daylight, do you? Remember, if you start a question with a positive, then you end with a negative. And if you start with a negative, then remember to end with a positive. But there's always an exception to the rule. I am the only person in this park, aren't I?
I am the only person in this park, aren't I?
Another example is, I am wet, aren't I?
I am wet, aren't I? For the statements with I am, use the question tags with aren't.
I hope you've had a good time with me today learning question tags, and remember the golden rule. If you start a sentence with a positive, end with a negative. And if you start with a negative, then end with a positive, and you can't go far wrong. Try it.